I can't believe I'm saying it, but it's Civilization 6's free update day. And today I'm talking about the new leader pass that has released, the Great Negotiator Pack, to be specific. And in this update video, I'll take you through all of the changes to Civilization 6. We'll start by taking a quick overview of the new leader's abilities and districts and changes, before delving a little bit more into the detail with new gameplay, where I break down the features a little bit more. Do consider subscribing if you like this kind of content, and I won't muck about. Let's jump straight in. And of course, we're going to start with Abe Lincoln, who is the new leader added to the American civilization in Civ 6. Abe Lincoln provides Emancipation Proclamation. Here, we have a focus on an industrial America, and you'll notice out of all three of the new leaders and civs, if you will, added to Civilization 6, they take the diplomacy feel of this pack, the Great Negotiators, but each one adds a unique flavor. In Abe's case, it's industrialization and production. Although we also receive an additional diplomatic favor per turn for every wildcard slot in our government. They'll be boosted a little bit too. And we also receive a film studio and a unique, of course, Mustang. Let's jump in and take a look at that detail a little closer. So, Abe, with your Emancipation Proclamation, you deliver +3 loyalty per turn on our industrial zones. However, the downside is that our plantations will receive -2 loyalty per turn. An interesting theming there that moves on through where we receive a free melee unit after constructing an industrial zone and their buildings. The free unit doesn't require the resource that's generated, say gunpowder, to maintain it, and it receives +5 combat strength. Neat. Now, building on top of that, of course, we have America's founding fathers, where all diplomatic policy card slots in the current government are converted to wildcard slots, giving you more freedom. You also receive diplomatic favor per turn for every wildcard slot within your government. More wildcard slots and diplomatic favor generated from them. There's that negotiator tactic coming through. However, of course, if that doesn't work out later in the game, you will have a unique air unit, the P-51 Mustang. An atomic era unit, mind you, fairly late in the game replacing the fighter. It gets +5 combat strength against other fighter aircraft, has +2 flight range, and gets an additional 50% experience. You may or may not get to play around with this, very much depending on your playstyle here, of course being a somewhat late game unit. Finally, America brings the film studio, a building of course unique to America, +100% tourism pressure generated from the city towards other civilizations when the game enters the modern era. So of course there is some powering up as we get more through into the clearly industrial, modern, and then atomic era playing as America. We would expect that, of course, and that is fitting with most of the other iterations of America that we can play as. However, Abe Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation delivers an interesting bonus out of our industrial zones, providing a lot more loyalty. This, of course, comes at the cost of our plantations. The free melee unit, after those zones are constructed and their buildings, is what will likely set Abe apart. Give those free units no maintenance cost for their resources, such as gunpowder, and an additional +5 combat strength. Combine that with extra flexibility within your government, and you can see that we've designed here a military civ and an industrial civ. Those two, under the banner of the Great Negotiators, complete Abraham Lincoln. With that to one side, let's now move through and take a look at the second leader added to the pack. A new leader for the KONGO. And my forward apologies for the pronunciation here. Queen of the KONGO, Nzinga Mbande, provides us with a unique take. Here, instead of an industrial approach, you'll see much more of a cultural theme, but also a leader who's not afraid to build a tall civ, and one that really ought to be refined, or confined, I should say, to our starting continent. This is the Queen of the KONGO. Let's take a look at the closer detail, and you'll see that your cities will receive additional yield if they share the same continent as your capital. If they don't, they'll actually suffer an even worse off penalty, -15%. Again, we'll get into the detail a little bit later on. Their unique flair sort of leans towards additional gold, food, production, and faith from relics, artifacts, and sculptures. You'll also generate your cultural great people much faster. Building on top of that, we have some unique buildings and units that cater towards building tall and defending. Let's jump in and take a look at the detail. Mbande adds that unique continental flair, plus 10% yields if your cities are on the same continent as your capital, minus 15% though if they're on a different continent. This bonus applies to your capital as well, it's important to note by default. Also, as the Congo will receive plus 2 food and production, plus 1 faith and plus 4 gold for each relic, artifact, and sculpture great work of art, in addition to the usual culture that we receive. Loads of bonuses from our relics, artifacts, and sculptures, therefore. We'll also, to kind of support that, receive an additional 50% more generation of great artists, musician, and merchant points. Our palace also has 5 great work slots. This is accompanied by, of course, a unique district and unit. The unit in the classical era replaces the swordsman, providing 10 additional combat strength when defending against ranged attacks, so the threat of volleys coming at you may be significantly reduced. It can also move and see through woods and rainforest, a wonderful defender or skirmisher in that difficult terrain. Their unique district to the Congo can only be constructed in rainforest and woods. Again, of course, that thematic bonus coming through in the world. It replaces the neighborhood district, but it's available earlier and slightly cheaper to build, providing plus 5 housing, 2 food, and 4 gold, irrespective of its appeal, unlike the district that it replaces. What you can therefore see is a civilization here much more focused around that culture, potentially tourism victory, of course, gameplay, through the relics and the artifacts. You also, though, have an interesting take on building tall here. Lots of opportunity for extra food, sometimes regardless of the terrain, although it's important, of course, that you build within the one continent that you start in, or at least where your capital ends up. Here, I think we see a version of the Congo focused on culture, on playing tall, and an interesting, and again, seemingly not overpowered addition to this update. The final paid edition, unless of course you have the anthology, in which case, as a reminder, all of these leaders are free, is a new addition to Arabia, a new Sultan, Saladin. And if Abe bought the industry, the Congo received an additional lashing of culture. Arabia is looking towards its religion and its military, and what is perhaps the easiest leader added in this pack and the most straightforward one to understand. Let's jump in and take a quick overview at what Arabia offers, and as I suggested, it really is a merging of your faith and your industry, with a powerful flanking and support bonus to all combat and religious units across the board. You'll also automatically be guaranteed a religion, so you'll have to play that religious game in one way or another. Let's jump in and take a look at the detail. So, Sultan Saladin the Victorious for, of course, the bonus, plus 100% flanking and support bonus to all combat and religious units. And this bleeds into the rest of your abilities fairly well. Again, a common theme, I feel, at least from my early impressions here, is that all of these leaders are unique in their own way and not too overpowered, perhaps just right. Here we see that this flanking and support bonus bleeds through into the medieval era, where our unit that replaces the knight heals at the end of every turn, even after moving or attacking, so more mobility, faster, better at healing, flanking, etc. Our unique building, unique to us of course, provides bonus faith equal to the adjacency bonus already being produced by our campus. Take that science adjacency and produce it as faith. Finally, the last prophet, and this is key, allows us to automatically receive the final great prophet when the second to last one is claimed by an enemy empire. This, of course, kind of guarantees us the ability to generate a religion, helping the fact that all of our religious units get that flanking benefit and that support bonus, and kind of completing the picture here. +1 science is also generated for each foreign city following our religion. As you can see, then, if Abe provided the industry, the Congo has the culture, Arabia then is, of course, gifted the sort of military and religious civ here. to complete the three that have been added as part of the Great Negotiators Pack, which of course, as a reminder, is free if you own the Civilization 6 Anthology or all of the Civ 6 DLC. Basically, if you own everything, you should get this for free. If not, you can purchase it in New Zealand dollars. It was 35, so that's probably about 25 US dollars. A couple of other important things to note, and this first one is a really important message. Loads of people have reported that the initial release of this DLC didn't work properly. It either caused their game to forget it owned any DLC at all and forced them to play on the base version of the game, or mucked it up in some other way. My resolution here is twofold. Firstly, they've released a patch to try and fix it, and secondly, if this is hitting you, don't go out and purchase the DLC again. You probably haven't lost it. There seem to be some issues in implementing this patch. We expect fast results, but do bear in mind that these three wonderful people may not quite be blessing your game just yet. The other important thing to note is that there was actually a fourth leader. This one, different again, not included in the leader pass, and instead given out for free if you sync your 2K account with Steam or whatever you're playing on. This is Julius Caesar, and the Julius Caesar pack again rolled out for free, separate from the leader pass that we've just been discussing. All you have to do is link your accounts together or what have you, and you'll get access. The leader bonus here to this alternative Roman leader gives us 200 gold after conquering a city for the very first time, and 100 gold for those barbarian outposts. After you unlock steel on standard speed, this will be upgraded to 500 gold for both of those amounts. A militarist, of course, fairly straightforward and building on what Rome already offers with its baths and so on and so forth. And that concludes this update for Civilization 6, the first of 6 parts of the Civ 6 Leader Pass. We expect to see one of these roughly each month, and I'll be sure to provide some coverage of them if you enjoy watching it. So do let me know. Please like the video if you learned something new, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.